Yeah. I want a house in the hills I pay big bills for. I ain't got in pocket. I wanna empty out my wallet. I wanna stop motion, stand still, Wallace and Gromit. I wanna talk more endlessly. I wanna neurotically vomit. I want more dollars from my mama. I want a palace in Prada. I want a Gucci bag where I can store my sorrows and hardships. I wanna gold plate my partners. I want endless tomorrows. I want a lot more than I got right now. That's the problem. You could give me every little thing I'd ever.
We're the minority in the videos.
You look on my Instagram, I ain't got no white people on it.
No, I'm like, shit, I got white clients. His Instagram, it's like the brother barber.
These guys are funny. Anyways, what's up everybody? So as you can tell, I'm cutting about 1 inch off the top. I'm using my clippers to do that, kind of clipper over finger action. So I started from the front middle, just working my way back slowly, grabbing section after section. And then once I do the middle a couple times, then I'll go ahead and start rounding the top into the side. So as you can see, the top of my finger or the top of my hand, it's keeping the length that I previously cut, but I'm rounding my fingers towards the parietal ridge area, and I'm getting really close, and that'll give me around a 3 or 4 length that I can fade into on the side. So now I'm going to go ahead and cross cut. So I'm just looking for high spots that, you know, I missed whenever I was cutting, standing behind him from the front to the back. So that's how I do it. A lot of people, you know, they use shears, and I use shears sometimes as well, but I had a bad break in my hand years ago, and it's caused a lot of pain whenever I use shears to do the top of the cut. So I usually just do, you know, clipper over finger. Now I'm going to go ahead and set in my first guideline, and I'm using the Wall Seniors fully closed, no guard, to set that first guideline in. And the reason I'm doing this is because I did a video a couple days ago, and basically someone asked if I could do the same thing on straight hair, so that's what I'm doing. So basically we're going to do the fade down technique, but for those that have a hard time doing the fade down technique, we're going to go ahead and basically do the steps to put the guidelines in place, and then we'll fade down. So what I did is I started with my first guideline, blade fully closed. Created the second guideline with blade fully open, no guard. Now I'm doing the number 1 fully open, and that's going to create my third guideline. And then we'll go ahead and go number 2 all the way open, and we'll take that right off the parietal ridge. And the reason I'm doing this is basically, there again, for those that struggle with the fade down technique, which is my favorite technique, I feel like I blend better, I feel like I'm a lot quicker doing that. The reason I'm doing this is because so many people say, I want to learn how to do the fade down technique, however I get lost because I have no guidelines. So we're going to teach you how to do it this way. So once we did the 2.5 open, we'll close the 2, and we'll drop right under that darkest guideline, and we'll blend into that 2 open. So basically, imagine those guidelines weren't there, and we did the 2.5, we closed the 2, and then we did the 2 into the 2.5. This is just going to show you kind of like in my mind where I would imagine the guidelines if they weren't there, right? So now we have the 1.5 guard halfway open, and we're going to blend that 1.5 halfway open into that 2 close that we just did. So basically you're just doing like 2 open, 2 close, 1.5 halfway. I usually do all my half guards halfway, but anyways, so we're just dropping a little bit lower, dropping a little bit lower. That's the whole thing until we get to bald. So now we have a number 1 guard, and now we're going to start below the darkest guideline, and we're going to just fade with that 1.5 or that 1 open into that 1.5 that we did previously. So that's all it is, man. It's just keeping that 2.5 or 3 in the parietal ridge, and then just going down a step each time. You're dropping a little bit lower, blending into that previous guard until it's bald. And what's cool is right now I have the 1.5 on, or the 1 open rather, blending into that 1.5. And then once I close that number 1, I can stretch that fade all the way down, you know, honestly, to do a low taper on the side if I wanted to, and then just line it up. But we're doing a fade. So now I close the number 1, and I'm dropping below that darkest guideline, just kind of fading into that 1 open. Now we're going to go ahead and do the half guard, halfway open. So as you can see, I'm dropping down now a little bit lower. And then once I, you know, do this, then more than likely I may, you know, go back to the open blade and then a closed blade, you know, or open, half, closed, whatever, to get any lines out. And then I'll bald out the bottom and hit it with a shaver. Just that easy. Right now, as you know, I'm not worried about perfection. What I mean by that is I'm not wasting time trying to make this fade perfect right now. Right now, I'm laying a foundation so that I can come back and clean it up later. The quicker I get this fade done, as far as go through the steps, the more time I have to detail this fade. And for whatever reason, if I'm running out of time and the next client comes in, if I'm in my detailing process, if I quit a little sooner than maybe I rather would, the cut will be done and it'll look good anyways. So as you can see, I went in with the the blade fully open. I just dropped a little bit lower, and then I closed it and blended out that line. Now I'm coming in with my shaver, or excuse me, with my trimmer. And let me tell you what, these trimmers, in my opinion, I know I might get in trouble for saying this, but these trimmers, man, they're probably the best trimmers I've ever used, bro. I ain't even gonna lie. These things, they're serious. They balled out really nice, but man, they hit so hard. And honestly, anytime I have to, you know, take a trimmer out of a box and use it for the first time, I always have to set it. These things came hitting so hard out the box, it scared me. And if you know me, man, I like my stuff zero gapped. But they hit so hard, I actually had to pull it back a little bit because I was scared I'd hurt people. And they still hit really hard, but my customers were like, man, they're so smooth. And then I used the shaver on the bottom. And that shaver is the best shaver I've ever used. Man, Babyliss is killing it right now. So anyways, and shout out to Dennis for the package, man. Not just 1, but 2. I'm so grateful. So anyways, now I'm going to do the fade down technique with no guidelines. I want to show you how I cut hair and how I move quick through a haircut. So right now I have a number 2 on there. I don't even think I opened it. I just went straight number 2 closed, and I'm just taking that number 2 right off the head, right off the parietal ridge. So where it starts to curve, I'm going straight up, just kind of blending out any of that bulk, knowing that I can do clipper over comb later. So now I go ahead and put the 1.5 guard on halfway open. And then I'm going to come in and blend right into that number 2 that I just did. Now watch this. Boom, we have the 1 open, and I'm dropping a little bit lower. And now I can stretch this blend as far as I want to with this number 1 on here. So anyways, I'm just going to go ahead and blend with that 1 open right into that 1.5 that was halfway open, right? All I'm doing is just dropping a little bit lower. It's real easy. I just imagine where I want the fade to be at in my head. So just like I had guidelines, I just don't have them. You know, I just know where I want this fade to be at. So now I have the number 1 closed, starting down low. And what's cool is if you start down low and you work your way up, that means you're always going over hairs. You're always making sure it's a smooth canvas for the next time, you know, you come in with that lower guard or with no guard. So the number 1's closed, and I'm just getting in there, knocking this out. There again, I'm not trying to make it perfect, just trying to get through the blend. I'll come back and detail afterwards. So now I have my half on there, halfway open, and I'm gonna blend into that number 1 closed. I'm just, you know, dropping a little bit lower. You can see right at the corner of the you know, at the top of the C cup, right at the bottom of the vertical bar. Now I just have that you know, that imaginary line in my mind that's around the area I want it to be bald. So now I close that half guard all the way, and I drop a little bit lower. Sometimes I don't even close it. You know, I just go ahead and take it off and I go right into the open blade. But sometimes I do, you know, you have that creative freedom. Anyways, the reason I wanted to do this video for you guys, man, is I want to help you guys to be the best that you can be. I want to give value to you as a barber, or to you as a barber student, or just someone that just, you know, is intrigued with cutting hair and wants to learn. Man, I want to teach you what I've learned over the years, and that's the whole purpose for me doing these videos. As you can see, I went ahead and went in with the open blade. Then I'm gonna close it a little bit and drop a little bit lower, and then I'll close it all the way, dropping a little bit lower until I go to my trimmer. As you can see, though, there's some patches in there. It's a little patchy, and it's because he has some light spots and he has some dark spots. I'm not worried about that right now. I'm not worried about it because I know that I'm gonna come back in and I'm gonna detail. Right now, there again, let's get through the haircut. Let's knock this thing out. Then we'll come back in and finesse that thing. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, I closed the blade all the way, and right then I just opened it a little bit. So I just, you know, whenever it starts getting in that shorter area with no guard, I do a little lever play. I might open it, close it, depending, you know, how I'm feeling as far as in that area. Now I'm coming back in with the trimmers, and I'll just use the corner to tap at any little dark spots I see while balding out the bottom. And then I'm gonna come back in once I clean all this up. I'll drop a little bit lower, and I'm gonna use my shavers. Now I'm gonna tell you right now, those shavers are so smooth and they get so bald. They get balder than any shaver that I've used. And I have the, what's that one called? A real expensive one. What's that one called? The Bronze Series 9. I have that one, and it gets very bald. This gets just as bald, but real smooth. And the reason I like this is light, and man, you can get in different places that Bronze Series 9 can't. Matter of fact, I don't ever use the Bronze Series 9 just because to me it's so bulky and I can't get into areas that I want. So watch this. Now I'm gonna go ahead and open that one up, and I'm just gonna float it. I'm just gonna float it. And what I feel like this does is smooths out any kind of, you know, dark spots. It helps tie the blend together. If there's anything that I missed, it kind of just, you know, knocks it down and ties it together. But I'm floating right off the round of that head, just boom, boom, straight up. And you know, of course, I'll go in and do the back and all that stuff. But so as you can see on his hairline, this would be our left side, his right side. It goes up a lot higher than the right side. So I'm lightly touching the hairs there, and then on the right side I'm gonna make it a lot tighter towards the longer hairs without cutting those longer hairs off. And honestly, I probably should cut into those long hairs a little bit to make it straight, because it is gonna be at a slight angle, but I just, you know, I don't want to do that. So went ahead and lined them up, throwing on some color enhancement, make that line pop a little bit. Yeah, white boys like color enhancement too. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, as you can see, that line it is crooked. It is what it is, you know. I've been thinking about pushing that other side back. I just hate doing it if I don't have to. So now I'm coming in with that razor and just cleaning that line up really good. And as you can see, I kind of did his beard while I wasn't recording. And there's times I'll drop a beard tutorial just to show you how I do beards, but I feel like a lot of people, you know, are pretty savvy with the beards. Yeah, so just still lining up with that razor, making sure we get that line to pop. And now I'm gonna go ahead and do clipper over comb just to help hit any loose hairs. This is also, you know, of course it ties the fade into the top better. But if I see any spots that I might want to hit to blend a little better on the fade, I'll kind of hit that with clipper over comb as well. Now that we got some product in the hair, look, the beard's done. The fade is not all the way done, but it's passable. So now I'm showing you the little dark spots that I see and how I detail. I come in with the point of my shears and I hit dark spots. So I comb through, I want to see little dark spots, and I just tap at them with the tip of my shear, which breaks up that grouping of hair that makes it look like dark spots. And now, once I've done that with the shears, now I see the darker, weightier areas. I'll come in with my thinning shears to kind of knock that out. And basically, while I'm thinning it out, because we already went over it with the guard, and the guard made it all the same length. Well, why is it still patchy if that's the case? Because some hairs bunch together, like there's groupings, and then and then there's skin and groupings and skin, and the more hairs bunch together or are in a tighter spot on the head, the darker the hair looks. So I'll go in there with those thinning shears and just break that up a little bit. It's like a crowd of people standing in a parking lot. Parking lot looks bald, but that crowd looks thick, right? Dark. So it's like we just getting in here breaking this up, man. Like break this party up, And I'll do that all the way around the head. Then I hit my man with that that little aftershave, and here it is. That's the finished cut, man. Hope you guys like it.
That looks good, man. I already had one baby. This is baby making haircut. Baby number 2 is on its way. Dang.
My man said he's ready to make another baby. Come on, somebody. So anyways, if you're not following me on Instagram, you can do that at S.Craft_Blendz for more amazing content. Make sure that you watch another video and subscribe if you're not subscribed and all that good stuff. Hit the bell, like button, all of it. Until next time, guys, God bless you. Peace. I'm out of here.